this song and making use of the 9 chord. When we play a, say if we have a C9 chord at the 3rd fret with our 2nd finger at the 3rd fret of the A string, that's the note C. The rule goes like this, that it almost always, let's say always, sounds great to slide in the 3 low strings. So in this case, it's the A string, D string, and G string from 1 fret below. If you're sliding in 1 fret below. You could probably get away with that with the 3rd finger too. It would sound cool there too, but then you'd have to just slide more around. So if you want to do it with just the bottom 3, or all of them, that's okay too. Thinking about breaking up the registers of the guitar, a lot of times I'll do that with just the bottom 3, and I won't put my bar down yet, because then I'll hear that middle register a little stronger. Now here's the 2nd rule. The first one was that you could take the 3 low strings and go chromatically 1 fret below up to the root note. The 2nd rule is release fingers 2 and 1 and take the top 3 strings, which is the 3rd finger barred, and go up a whole step and back. That always works. But if you hold down 1 and 2, it sounds like this. And you'll get this bad sound of the F sharp, so you do have to either release these or just not hit them like this. And I would say just release them, going, because then it's less friction, you know. So that first rule on page 3 says slide the 3 low strings from 1 fret below, and then the 2nd rule says slide the 3 top strings from 2 frets above. When you put them together, you get. Now, the first one that I did was on a C chord showing the root at the 3rd fret of the A string. That's the move that's going to work for the 5-string C9 chord. When I go to the low string though, it's almost the same stuff, just fingerings are going to change a little bit. Now here's your G9, and this is the 3rd line down. The first line on that page was showing the C9 and doing exactly what I just did. The line down from that shows the G9, and it's going to go like this. Play fingers 2, 3, and 2, 1, and 3, sliding from the 2nd to the 3rd fret. And then you could, for this one, I would probably re-finger the chord like this, take these guys up, and just do the same thing on the D, G, and B strings. If you need bass after that, use your thumb. Or you could, if you want to do this, yeah, you could do that, but that would be tricky. I would say for the 6-note ones, move the grip. And if you need the bass, use your thumb. So on that sheet, on sheet 3, the first examples show how to do it from a C chord in the low position with the root on the A string, and the G chord in the low position with the root on the low string. It does 2 more examples. If you go down 2 lines, it shows how to do the C chord in the high position, which would look just like the D, or just like the G chord. And then, just to be thorough, on the 2nd line from the bottom, it shows how to do the G in the high 5-string position. At the very end, it shows a little turnaround, and I think this is the turnaround they play on the song. And then, oh, sorry. This is the one going. Oh, sorry. The turnaround they actually use is the 2nd one that goes. just about sliding 1 fret below into the low 3 strings of the 9 chord, 2 frets above. Now, if we go back to, I'm just going to go all the way back to page 1, because page 2 is just chord voicings for everything. On page 1, the one thing that's a little weird about this one is the intro is on the second to bottom line, because I think I probably wrote it and then forgot to stick it on the top. So for the intro, you've got a D7 chord to an E flat 7, back to a D7, and then you have to play D augmented. D7 augmented, or just D augmented. And the chords are all directly below it. So that one sounds like this. I'm going to play through the first page. It's going 1, and I'm going to play the intro first, and then I'm going to come to the top. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, going. Then and 1, then sliding through, then. These chords, then here, then D9 up to E flat, back down to G7, then C9, then back again. So what I'm doing in that one is almost exactly what we were doing on page 3, half step below. Before we talk about that, because that we kind of went over, is when you're at the very beginning, it says to release the pressure to get that nice short notes, and make sure you got no high E string ringing on these guys, or it'll wreck the party for sure, because it'll sound like this on the E flat chord. We're going, always releasing the pressure, up 1 fret is E flat, back down to D, and now I get rid of the pinky and bar the index finger, and that gives me D augmented. Once I've got the D augmented, then I'm going to get ready to slide in for that G9 chord again. So it's from the beginning, that 1 and 2 and 3, and then from there, it's going to do the rule just like we did, sliding in low, then high. Then the C goes up a string, barring 3. Now at this point, we're going to play nice small 3-finger major chords for G major, and we're going to just move them all around, and it's not going to switch back to a 9 chord until it switches to D flat 9. It's going to sound like this, playing G, then to G sharp, then back, down. After that, it plays D flat 9. And then you're to C. In time, that sounds like 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and a 3 and a 4 and 1. Now we just do this again. We go up high and do the 6-string version. Then we're playing G7, A minor 7, B minor 7,